Hello and welcome back to the Casual Fanatic. Today I want to go over the Arsenal-Tottenham game we watched yesterday. Honestly, I found it a very fascinating game. It shows a lot about both teams, and honestly, it was a pivotal game in both teams' seasons. One probably solidifies that we might see an Arsenal league title win after 2 decades without winning the league now. Last one being, of course, the infamous Invincible season. As for Tottenham, not as let's say hopeful and bright as it could be, because top four is looking more and more difficult with the solidification of Newcastle and how well they're playing. Another video on about that, as well as United on hot form. City will obviously be making top four, and Arsenal right now look like they're bound to win the league. First of all, let's go into Tottenham. I want to delve into Tottenham, the field, the vibe around it, and why is it that Tottenham always seem they can progress to a certain level, but then it just halts. You get to a certain level, and then the progress that you see and the next step that should be taken inevitably doesn't come. Tottenham end up looking like, for example, 2019 under Poch. The team was building. They came close to a title challenge back in 2016, which was stopped again, Tottenham-esque style with the loss to Chelsea, Hazard goal. Remember all of that. But with Tottenham, it was like you get to that point, and then it's like almost like the board, the players aren't at the level, the manager, and it feels more like an identity problem that Tottenham have, and it's a much more nuanced problem to try and tackle than just simply, hey, we signed this guy, it works. But going into the team, like, not only there's a lack of identity, you also see that there's a clear detachment in manager application. So you'll hear me mention what I attribute as manager application very often in all of these episodes. And what I at least describe it as is manager application is what percentage of the manager's tactics and influence the players are actually applying on the pitch. And in terms of Tottenham, it is low. It is not looking like an Antonio Conte team. Antonio Conte has been a manager that's been able to succeed in Italy multiple times, succeed in England as well. He's been proven in the Premier League with a Chelsea team that thereafter did horrendously. And that's down to Conte, one of the most beautiful, free-flowing, functional Chelsea teams we've seen in the Premier League era was under Conte. So why can he not emulate that at Tottenham? Yes, of course, there is the City powerhouse. There was Liverpool for the last few years. Of course, there's the Newcastle rising, Arsenal, United coming back, all these sleeping giants. But that's not an excuse given what he was given when he first arrived at Tottenham. It was built off the foundations of a pretty poor run under Mourinho. But you have arguably one of the best strikers of a generation who is still trophyless with Tottenham. And you also have one of the most talented foreign products we've seen in the Premier League in Heung-min Son, probably a top 10 foreign import winger in the Premier League era. And yet you haven't been able to even win a trophy. You've gotten to three finals, if I'm maybe mistaken. The League Cup where they sacked Mourinho right before. Very weird decision to appoint a 29-year-old. And then a Champions League final to Liverpool in one of the most boring finals with almost a lackluster effort. There was no heart, no will, no desire to do anything. So, and then now you've been left with a team that at the beginning of the season, a lot of people thought, hey, this team could get third, finish right behind the City, Liverpool, maybe even challenge for second, maybe push them there, but pretty assured for a top four finish. That looks like a joke now, to say that Tottenham are a sure team in the top four. But then again, I do feel for them because they have lost some important player in Bentancur right now who's not playing. But then what's been happening when he's been there? And also on top of that is you've had this front line. Yes, they haven't been fit together for most of the season, but even when they have, you haven't gotten the best out of Heung-min Son this season. His form's dropped off, whether that's confidence, whether that's a systematic problem. And it's getting pretty clear that Antonio Conte doesn't really see a position and a system where he can fit in Heung-min Son right now. And he's tried different systems. He's tried a 3 in midfield. Of course, he'll always stick to his three back with or five back, whatever you want to call it, with the wing backs. But he's again chopped and changed with those, and he's changed with two up front, three up front, and it doesn't seem to be that understanding. What do I really want from here? Of course, that's been limited at times due to availability, but that's not a good enough excuse for this Tottenham team with the talent that they have. But talking about talent is like when you go and look at the midfield, the defense, you're seeing a team that realistically, if I start naming some of these players, you're gonna think these would genuinely be Southampton, bottom of the league players. You wouldn't be surprised. Højbjerg aside, maybe because he has been able to prove it over this year, and honestly, I feel like he's been one of the only ones behind the forward line that's actually produced. But he isn't enough in a two-man system. In a two-man system, he doesn't have enough going forward. He doesn't have enough technical ability. He's much more, he's a support player. He's someone you play alongside a Bentancur and a Basuma, alongside a Bentancur and someone else. But he can't be playing next to Sar. It's not good enough. It doesn't have the right balance, and especially not if you're trying to compete with top of the league Arsenal right now. So, and then defensively, don't even get me started on the fact that you have Eric Dyer still playing as a central centre back. I don't know who's thought that he was good enough. Longley was so bad at Barcelona that he was fourth choice, third choice. He's ridiculed between Barcelona fans. He's had a game here and there where he's looked all right, but generally we know that he isn't at the level to be able to compete. If you can't compete right now with Barcelona team, with the turmoil they're going through, with the fact that they didn't qualify for the group stages, qualify in the group stages in the Champions League, how do you want to make that same stage with Tottenham? It doesn't make sense, especially when he's now also playing in a different system. Going into looking at what they should have done yesterday, for me, the first thing, I know they don't have the availability, but looking into trying to have a system of three with Kane dropping deep like he usually does, and then having Son exploit the space that was in behind Ben White, and they did at times exploit it. And for example, that created the Sessegnon chance yesterday on the 50th minute right after halftime, where they did look bright coming out of the second half. But that dissipated into really nothing really repetitive, nothing that you can keep doing, not a proper system of attack that you can keep employing against Arsenal. They couldn't find that. Instead, they was relying on off chances, relying on a special pass from Kane, a special movement from Son or Kulusevski. Kulusevski is going to be a huge plus for them to have back in their team now, especially with the Richarlison coming back into the fold, giving them a different option, giving them some legs in there as well. But that space that was in behind Ben White, especially seen by the average position, he was playing past the halfway line basically, and then when Arsenal dropped deeper, he was able to cover up the space and they closed off the avenues for Spurs. But that was something to be exploited. Play Kane deeper, contest against that Arsenal forward, because Odegaard's not your typical advanced playmaker that has no defense work. No, this is modern day football. Everyone has to have defensive worker. Everyone is part of the pressing system. Everyone is part of the defensive shape. And Odegaard is no slouch. So it's Odegaard, you have Partey, Xhaka's in there, and Zinchenko plays in that midfield. Drop cuts inside, really Guardiola popularized style of playing the fullbacks inverted and adding an extra body in midfield. And especially the fact that Zinchenko, I'll go into his brilliance later, but having a four in midfield means Tottenham had to compete against that. But they didn't. Instead, it was playing Kane higher than usual, not giving him that freedom to drop in, but also because him dropping in was just crowding it, instead of actually making it so that they have a three and Kane. That creating small triangles, creating a quartet of players that can actually compete and duel against that Arsenal midfield, because it looked comfortable for them at times. It looked like there was nothing that was going to stop Arsenal from playing the system and playing the game that they wanted to play. And now that's a mistake from Conte. Yes, availability hindered him, but why are we not seeing Basuma in this kind of game? Why are we not seeing some kind of adjustment from Conte to be able to compete with this Arsenal game? This is an important game. This is a big game. Arsenal hadn't won in years away from home. And it looked easy. It looked simple. Well done to Arteta for setting it up and imposing themselves on the game. But you have to question Tottenham, and you have to question where the team's going. The return of some players could see that their season spring back to life, because season potentially pushing for that top four. But then again, as with Tottenham always, you're one Kane injury away from the season collapsing. Christian Romero being gone, that defense looks like a championship defense. There isn't enough there. Finding the consistency in the fullback area as well is going to be crucial for Tottenham in the wing backs, fullback area. And honestly, I don't know where Tottenham go from here, because what do you do now with the rumors circulating that Harry Kane might be coming to United, might be leaving somewhere, or even if he doesn't, it's like, what are the next steps? Because he's getting older. Are you really going to spur the chance to have, with this team, this crop of talent, in having two world-class attacking talents, and you haven't been able to compete with a single trophy in downturns as well in the Premier League? Yes, it's been a competitive era, but there's been gaps in there to exploit and to win trophies. There's so many on display. So many. The City squad and Liverpool squad over the last few years have been stretched thin, trying to fight on all four fronts. There's a chance there. There was an opportunity. It's a shame, and we'll see what they do, but I don't know where they go from here, and what really is the goal? That's the question I pose. As for Arsenal, this shows exactly why they are where they are and what they are, how they are performing, and almost the ease of the way they are asserting their dominance, asserting their will on opponents right now. They are playing the way they want to play, and no one is forcing them to adjust. It, or at least feels like that, right? Of course, there are micro adjustments and little things that Arteta is doing that are very, very well done right now. But the question is right now for Arsenal is like, how long can they keep this up? And how do they fare in the matchups against two Manchester clubs? Like, my first thought was, let's talk about the brilliance of Arsenal and how they managed to attack, attacking wise, managed to literally rip apart Tottenham time after time for especially the first half. It was a one-way side for the first half, dominating result for Arsenal. But I want to talk about the defensive side and how in that second half, when they had to drop back to solid defensive block, limit specific chances, limit Spurs' chances that they were comfortable giving them. But at the same time, Ramsdale, as much as people have liked to almost hate on him because it's like the idea like, oh, he has such a big personality, oh, he's so loud and it's just for a show. I've been on that bandwagon as well. It's like, oh, Ramsdale's not actually that good. But watching him yesterday, that was impressive. That was a commanding goalkeeper. He claimed what he needed to claim, made some big stops, and he really embodies everything that is good and special about Arsenal right now. The right spirit, the right energy, the confidence. It's all there. It's playing above your talent as well, getting the most out of you, the togetherness that you feel, especially like when you see at the full-time whistle, when you see Arteta run over and grab Zach and they jog together back over to cheer on the Arsenal fans. It's a beautiful sight. I'm not going to touch on what happened with Ramsey at the end with the fans and Richarlison and whatever. Honestly, I find it disgusting, unnecessary, really weird that you have to go to that extent, especially with a keeper that's really did nothing to instigate it. All he did was have a great game. But football fans are emotional. I understand it from that point, but we should cut that out, you know? In terms of their depth right now for Arsenal has been the big question. Can they compete with City over a 38-game season? We don't know that yet. But what we have seen is they've lost Jesus, they've managed, and Nketiah's come in and seamlessly adapted. They lost this Smith Rowe at the beginning of the season, who people thought would have a bigger role. They've been fine. He's played something like 4 games. Zinchenko and Tierney have both been in and out all the time. But going back into what I was saying, so Zinchenko, Tierney, they've been injured. They've been rotating in and out of the side. And what we have to not underestimate is the value that Zinchenko brings to this Arsenal's team. So I wanted to talk about the defensive side, and Zinchenko, both defensively and offensively, has been pivotal. The thing that he brings that's so underestimated is the press resistance that he brings. You can't press Zinchenko. He turns, he's able to get out of pressure, he's able to stay composed, pick the right pass, add a body in midfield, transition the ball well into the attacking players, especially linking it over to Martinelli and switching it over to Partey, who then gets it over onto the right-hand side where they're so dangerous. Furthermore, yesterday he won 9 out of 10 duels. Extremely impressive, especially for the size and where he's not known for his defensive acumen. But he was great yesterday. And also what he allows is, he allows Martinelli to be free. He allows Xhaka to push up further and play almost as a shadow striker this season. And that is a testament to what Zinchenko's been able to bring and how Mikel Arteta was able to identify him as the crucial element that they needed to really implement the system that he truly wants to play. And it's working, and it's working to a T. And it's really like revitalized players like Partey and Xhaka and given Martinelli so much license to do what he does best and be direct and attack. But it's not even hurting them defensively, because the way he's able to not lose possession, not lose the ball, he's always seems to be in position and ready to be able to defend. He isn't the best one-on-one defender, but he gets enough of a job done where he's able to get that help from Xhaka and able to get that help from Martinelli. And honestly, Martinelli's work rate's great, especially for someone who is a flamboyant, let's say direct attacking player, right? Maybe not flamboyant, right? But you know what I mean. Again, I want to touch on Ben White as the final Arsenal defender I want to talk about. Gabriel also had a very good game. Saliba had a solid game, but right now Saliba seems like there's a little bit of confidence lacking maybe. I don't know exactly what it is. It just feels like something's not sitting right for me with Saliba as he was at the beginning of the season. I'm sure he'll regain that form. He's a young centre-back still, and he'll be great for years to come, hopefully for Arsenal. Well, as a United fan, hopefully not for Arsenal. Hopefully PSG comes snap him up, but let's see. But in terms of Ben White, again, he was brilliant. The way Arteta has managed to like manufacture like a perfect right back for his system is beautiful. You get the defensive attributes of a center back where he's able to win his 1v1 duels, challenge aerially, he's not being out-muscled off the ball, he's reading the game well, he's slotting in at the right times, he's able to switch with his center back if it comes to it. But Arsenal usually end up maintaining shape pretty well so that he doesn't have to. But what is so impressive with him is he has the technical ability to be able to link up and find the crosses and create chances and link with Saka. But it's his decision making that's so impressive. It's always the right decision at the right time. It's, am I going to play a more difficult pass? Am I going to play it simple? Is Saka coming inside? Maybe I should give him an offside. I should give him an overlap. If Saka is taking it wide and taking one-on-one, I'm giving him an outlet so he plays it short in case he needs to bail out. Or he's making underlapping runs to give him another option. It really is seamless right now, and his decision-making is perfect right now. And he has the technical ability to match it. And it's so impressive. And again, obviously, want to compliment Saka. I'll have another video talking about the Arsenal attack, Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli, and honestly, the emergence of Nketiah and how I cannot believe that United didn't go for that chance when we had it the season before, when Nketiah was on a free, and you just needed another option in there. Instead, you were left with no options in attack, and we still have no option in attack until now. We've signed with Weghorst and Martial, but I'd probably start Nketiah over both of them, which is crazy to think now, right? When you could have gotten him on a free, and all he was looking for was more game time. You could have offered them wages, but anyway, I'll do another video on that. Let's see how Arsenal do in the next two games up against City and United. And yeah, see you guys very soon. And the next video, I want to be talking about the Newcastle, the emergence of Eddie Howe's system, how well they've been able to manufacture that squad, how they're making every decision right, and what this means for the league long term and what signings we could be looking for Newcastle. Catch you guys soon.